Thank you so much for having me. Yes, I'm developing quite a history with this place. Quite a history, quite a reputation maybe. I don't know. Hopefully it's a good one. Hopefully it'll stay a good one. We'll see. Reverend Lane and I actually just recently were ordained together. And so we were both at a center. And so that we're together for a lot of big things for our centers and for each other. So that's pretty marvelous. Her installation here was my first exposure to other spiritual leaders in Florida. And I decided when I became spiritual director in Cape Coral that I didn't want to get involved with corporate, with home office. I wanted to meet the people that were here in Florida and develop bonds with them, and then maybe expand out into home office, but it was really important. So her installation was the first time that I met a lot of those people. And she told me later, she goes, "Who is this Shell Redfern person, and why is she coming to my installation? She doesn't know me." And I'm so glad I did. We've become very dear friends, very, very dear friends. So, there's more to life than this box is my theme this morning, and we'll get to why that is. But if I've got a story to tell, it's become more and more apparent to me that the macro can be seen in the micro if we just take a minute and look for it. And what I'm trying to say is the way that God works, the way that life works is everywhere. Everywhere. It's like Spirit is saying, this is how it works. I'm showing you in everything so you get how it works for you. But the place where I learned that the most was here. This is my cat Lily. Lily was about 9 months old when this picture was taken, and that's actually where our story starts. Lily was about 9 months old, and Lily is an inside-outside cat. And one day, my husband and I get home, and Lily's on the back patio, and there are like 10 cats back there. I'm like, dude, have you ever seen such a friendly cat? You know, usually if you're an outside cat, you're very territorial. This does not happen. It doesn't happen. And it's like, wow, that's just really curious. And we went, okay, so she's a friendly cat. Wow, we knew that, but you know, apparently she's a big friendly cat. And the next morning, Lily came in to get her food and started doing this. Now, anybody that has cats, you know what that means. If your cat is going and walking around the house funny, it means she's in heat. And we suddenly understood why Lily was so popular the night before. And we're suddenly going, crap, you know? So we keep Lils in the house, but it was really apparent within a few weeks that we did a little bit too little, too late. And so we talked about what to do about this. And I love that little girl. I love her. And I couldn't do something that would hurt her body. She was 9 months old, you know? And we didn't think it would happen that quick. Long story short, this happened. But think about it. Think about it. There was a long time between all those cats on our back patio and this. There were several weeks. Now this is what happens. Here's our micro-macro thing, right? This is what happens when there's an idea in God. There was an idea of these kittens in God in Lily, right? So Lily, even for the first little bit after this idea took hold, wasn't aware that change was going on. And then once the idea did take hold, something inside Lily knew that big changes were coming. But you couldn't see it on the outside, right? But there's a gestation period. There's a gestation period with all ideas, all concepts, anything that's seeking to emerge by means of each of us, by means of this thing called God. There's a gestation period. There's a waiting period. And we know it's going on. We can feel the changes. Lily could feel those changes way before I could see evidence of them on the outside. But then I became aware of some of the changes too. I got to put my hand on her belly and feel the little kicking and stuff going on in there. It was awesome. The whole pregnancy, for me, poor Lils, was awesome. You know? Because, and the babies got bigger and bigger. So it is with ideas. They start to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And where the kittens could move quite a lot, and I could feel their paws quite a lot in the early stages of the pregnancy, the closer she got to delivery, the less they could move, right? So it's an idea whose time had come. Suddenly, you don't have a choice anymore. Something has to shift, something has to move because it's stuck. It can't move, and oftentimes that looks like a wreck on the outside, right? And birth is messy. Birth, you can see, this is right after they were born. Birth is messy. It is. Now here's what we did. We took a box and we put it in my office, and we put a gate, because we have 2 80-pound dogs as well. So we put a gate in my office door. And it had a little cutout so Lily could get in and out. And I kept dropping her in the box, dropping her in the box. And she didn't want to be in the box, but I wanted her to know it was there. So I just kept dropping her in the box, dropping her in the box, and hoping that she would understand what the box was for when the time came. And so the night that the kittens came, I knew she was close. I knew she was really close. She was panting, could hardly move, and all that stuff. And so we go to bed, and she's on the bed with us, and I wake up at about 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and she's not in the bed. So I go to my office. Poor Leland. I scream, "Len, get in here!" 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, wake him out of a dead sleep. He thinks that something horrible has happened, and that had happened. She found the box, she was in the box, and the poor dear did this all alone. But isn't that often the way it is with change? Even though the others around us can sense it coming, can see it coming, might even be part of it, often those transitions we have to do alone. We have to take care of it alone. And Lil, strong thing that she was, did this alone. And birthed these new ideas, what we're going to call kittens, into the world. So there were 5 of them, as you can see there. And very, very healthy little things. Now, for the first day, well, like I say, this is in my office, and I'm trying to work, I really am. But she didn't want to come out of the box. She would not come out of that box. And so I'm trying to get her out just so that she would eat, drink, something, because I could see she was really weak and really tired, and I just wanted to get some sustenance. So I go to the store, I get like 17 different kinds of canned food, and we just put one after another. And then one finally got her out of the box. And so we were sitting right outside the box, and this was at like 8 or 9 that night, and we're eating. And the kittens were lost for a moment. When she got out of the box, because they went from being in her to being on her, and all at once they feel alone. Now, what they don't know is that we are sitting right like that. There are times in our life when we feel alone, when we feel like it's not safe, when we feel abandoned, and we're never, ever, ever alone. In the same way that these kittens were right there and safe in that box, and Lily and I were right outside of that box, they were perfectly safe. It did not feel that way to them in that moment. But we are always safe, and we are always being watched over, and we are always, always in love, as they were. Lils and I were just right outside that box, watching them. So they scrambled-bambled around for a little while, and then they found each other. Now, I would imagine that this was pretty similar to how it was inside of her womb, but now they had space to move in a little bit. So they found each other, and this would be how we'd see them stacked on each other or stacked on Lily all the time. Aren't they cute? I took 385 pictures. So I promise I didn't bring all of them. I just brought some, and I'm really trying to be good about which ones I show you. They're supposed to all have a point, so we will see. Now, something hugely dramatic. So this was their life for the first few weeks, like 2 weeks. We can have 2 weeks. And then something hugely dramatic happened. Hugely dramatic. Let's see. Can you see? They opened their eyes. They opened their eyes. Isn't he cute? No. They just, it was amazing to see. Come on. They didn't even know they had eyes. Think about this for a minute. That was a remarkable day for me, because I was watching them, and at first it was quite the struggle, because holy smokes, that had to be bright. Yeah. Do you know? That had to be really, and I tried to shade them and everything. I'm horrible. But, anything I could do to make them more comfortable. And they just kind of slowly opened their eyes. It had to be shocking. It had to be bright. They didn't even know they had eyes. And think about that. They went from a world that was completely, completely dark. The only way that they could find each other was by kind of scramble bambling. They were down on all their haunches, and they kind of find each other that way. Had to use a sense of smell, sense of sound a lot to find each other. Think about not even having a concept of sight. Not even a concept. And it's startling at first. It's bright at first. It's scary at first. And then it's life-giving. Holy smokes. I can see you and you and you, and I can see Mom. Holy cow. And that's how it is with us. We have these gifts on the inside that we may not be at the point of development yet for those gifts to emerge. And when they emerge, they can be a little bit scary at first. Like that bright light. And they are so life-giving. They are in us, that we can become something different, something bigger, something broader, that we can experience life in a new way. They have a whole new experience of life because they have the gift of sight. And we have the gift of fill in the blank, still within us, that can be this kind of transformational. And it emerges when we are at a state of our development that can support it. Is this making sense? Amazing! Don't you wonder what's inside of you that is seeking to open up and broaden your whole entire experience of the world? As the gift of sight did for these little rascals. There's lots of kinds of sight. This one happens to be with eyes. But all those gifts of sight are within you. For you to say yes to them. And they could have closed their eyes. And often we do. We see that bright glare, have that experience. It's a little bit overwhelming. And we can shut it down just as much as we can open it up. Option's ours. Option is always ours. And option was theirs. And I'm happy to say that all 5 of them embraced the gift of sight. And it really changed their life in a remarkable way. Because as I said, it was that they would just kind of crawl around. But now they could see each other. Do you see them? Now they're chewing on each other. And now they're starting to swat at each other. They're chewing on Mom. They're doing all kinds of stuff. Here they are. The biggest thing that came that I noticed after they learned how to see is up until that point, they were very content to just lay still. You know, they really were. And they were little and they didn't have a lot of money, but they really were content. But now that they could see, they wanted to move. It gave them the gift of mobility in addition to the gift of sight. And they wanted to move. So they learned how to sit, and they learned how to stand, and they learned how to walk. And it wasn't very long, and they learned how to run. And they learned how to jump, and they learned, most importantly, how to play. Look at that little one. God, I love that. Oh, she's still a little rascal, that one. I tell you what. Well, with the gift of play, it came curiosity. They became very, 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 very curious. And through all of these weeks and months of their development, one cat in particular, now I would not name them because I did not want to be attached to these guys. So I did not name them except for the one we knew we were going to keep, which is George. George is the one in the middle. And so George had a name, but the rest of them, it was the cream-colored kitty, the fluffy kitty, the brown kitty, and the white kitty, you know? And that's, I would not name them. I just couldn't. So the cream-colored kitty had this fascination with Lily jumping in and out of the box. Because now Lily was getting out on a regular basis and starting to have her own life, right? And these guys were playing and everything, but Lily was jumping in and out of the box. And the cream-colored kitty would watch that, and watch it, and watch it. And then, one day, she decided that she was going to try it. So this little thing. Jump, jump, boing, 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 boing. And I'm telling you, I'm trying to work. This was 8 weeks of not working at all. I really did. And so this cat is boinging, and then all at once, she did this. Oh, there it is. Oh. She found the edge of the box. And she pulls herself up, and I'm right there with my camera, of course. Isn't she cute? Oh my heavens. She found the edge of the box. She found the edge of the box. Life as she knew it up until that moment was contained in that box. That was the edge of her whole entire universe. And she learned that the box had an edge. Holy smokes! That's a big deal. You know? There's a whole nother world outside of this box. There is always more life than this box. And we are always in a box. That's the interesting thing. We create edges of life for ourselves. We do. We create edges of our awareness. And then things happen that help us see, oh wow, I was in a box. Okay. There's always more to life than this box. There's always a bigger box. And we're always discovering the edge of our understanding, the edge of our knowing, the edge of our becoming. And if we're brave, we take a step out. So it wasn't long at all, then the other ones caught on to what she was doing. And they're clamoring and climbing on top of each other. Oh, geez, it was a mess. But they all found the edge of the box, and I said, all right. So I had made this little drawbridge when they were first born on the box, so I could get in there with my camera. That's how I got all those pictures of the littles. And then I let the drawbridge down to let them out. And so here's their first time out of the box. There's Lily, right there to show them the way. So this is what happens when our universe expands. If we welcome it, there are always people there, practitioners, prayer partners, Lane, I should say Reverend Lane, we're in church, Reverend Lane, you know, they're here to help show you the way, help you be open and available for what this expansion is, for what the next steps are. And you can't see it well here, but there was one little kitty that did not want to come out of that box. huddled in the corner. Again, we're always in a state of choice. We are always in a state of choice. We get to choose whether we're going to expand our universe or not. We get to choose which boxes we want to stay in or not. Our choice. But if we want to be open, we'll realize every day we're in a box. Oh, where's the edge of that box? Become curious. Where's the edge of that box? I wonder if I can explore outside of it today. And no, you are never, ever alone. You are never, ever alone. There are always people, systems. God is with you at all times. We're never put in a situation that we can't handle. So here they are. Come on. In no time at all, they became very comfortable with being out of the box. No time at all. Can you tell what I studied in college? And it was always the 5 of them. There was always a pile of kitties somewhere. It was never just one of them or random. They were all 5. And I told Leland, as we were watching this, you think that when you bring a kitty home for the first time and they're mewing, their hearts out, that they're missing their mom. They're missing the people the kitties that they grew up with. They're missing each other. That became hugely apparent to me. This was their tribe, and they never went anywhere without all 5 of them being involved. So I'd find them like on my bookcase, chair, that's my meditation chair. And one day, I came home from yoga, and my dog Sula was always at the door when I came home from yoga, waiting to greet me. And she wasn't there. Where's Sula? Okay, maybe she's out back or something like that. And I walked through the house. So that's the gate I was telling you about. Now they're running around in my office, so we don't have the cutout there so that Lily can get out anymore. So otherwise they're going to get out, but they did anyway. And so I had this stool outside my office, so Lily could jump from the floor to the stool and then into my office to get to the cats, right? And they kept the dogs still out. And Sula was very curious about the dogs. She was always about the kittens. She was always right outside the gate looking at them. This is what I encountered when I walked in after yoga. Those little stinkers climbed the fence. And 4 of the 5 of them were on this stool, backed against the back of the stool, and Sula's sitting there looking at them. Now this looks pretty dang scary, doesn't it? 80-pound Sula and those little kittens. But here's what those guys don't know about Sula. Sula has this mothering instinct that is second to none. That's a whole story in itself. But she loves babies. She loves babies and goes hugely out of her way to protect babies. What's our lesson here? What looks pretty scary from the outside could be one of our greatest assets. Sula's their protector. And there are a lot of things that happen in life that look pretty scary from the outside. But I bet you can think of one right now that looked pretty scary when you first saw it, and it turned into one of the best experiences, or one of the most life-giving, or one of the most supportive experiences, people, places that you've ever encountered. Things aren't always what they seem. That was my lesson here. Things aren't always what they seem. Sula is their great protector. She will never do them any harm. They walk underneath her, over on her. She would never do them any harm. But it looks pretty scary from their perspective, doesn't it? Things aren't always what they seem. Well, so life continued. And the 8 weeks went very, very quickly. Much too quickly for my liking. And the day that came for them to go, I was laying in yoga, in the meditation part, tears just running down. And I had posted, like I say, there was 300 some odd pictures of these guys, and they just cracked me up. So every day I was posting something on social media, not for anybody's delight except for my own, But I had no idea, but people would come up to me that I knew, go, "Where's the pictures of the kittens today? Oh, I've been watching the kitten story. Oh, they're so cute." I'm like, "You've been watching my story about the kittens, really?" People loved it. I was amazed. They just loved it. So by the end of the 8 weeks, all of them were adopted out. All of them had homes to go to. And so I'm laying in yoga class going, this is the last day with the kittens. And everybody had been complaining bitterly because they wanted to pick them up, and I just couldn't let them go, but I had to. And so this picture, I just love this one, was taken 2 days before they left. Isn't that just beautiful? And this one, the day they left. Now, isn't it interesting that every one of them is looking in a different direction? They're all together, but every one of them is looking in a different direction. So that purple blanket was the blanket that they grew up on. So I cut it into 5 pieces, and I put that in a care package, a disc with the 300 some odd baby pictures in the package, a baggie of the food that they had been eating in the package, one of the toys that they had been playing with in the package, so that they could bring a piece of home with them to their new home. Now here's the thing. What I knew, even though I was so sad to release those kittens, what I knew is that they were going from the arms of love to the arms of love. And that's what transitions are for us in our own life. We are going from the arms of love, whatever situation we are in, to the arms of love. And we have to trust that process, that everything is okay. As hard as it is, as tough as it is to release, things that kittens that we love so very much, as tough as it is to release, they have a life to live. And I've done my part, and I've done as much as I can to raise them into the great kittens, cats that they're going to be. And it's my job to release them in love, with love, to love. To love. And what's theirs to do is to continue to find the edge of their box. So you think about it, their box extended from that little cardboard thing that they were born in to the box of my office. And after a little while, it extended from the box of my office, for George anyway. See? This is the first time that George ventured out of my office and met Sula face to face. And Sula brought him around the house and showed him all the things. And I left the gate in there so that George could feel safe and have a safe place to go back to. But in no time at all, a day, 2 days, that gate was out because George was out in the house. His box had expanded. His box had expanded from my office to the house. And then he had other great adventures. Finding more and more things to get into around the house. Oh, George. George is now a 22-pound cat. He's a huge cat. Actually, he's trimmed now. He's probably, about 18 pounds, maybe? 15? 17, 18 pounds? He's big. He's a big cat. Big cat. And he's absolutely wonderful and a gift in our world. Absolutely a gift in our world. So what's the point? The point is that we're here to grow. We're here to expand. And we're here to notice around us at all times that Spirit is showing us how it works. It's showing us the macro in the micro. We talk about the seed, soil, plant analogy. That's just where it begins. So in the kittens, it's everywhere. And it's in you. It's in each and every one of you. So I invite you today to look at life as there's more to life than this box. And I wonder what it is. How about we take this into prayer? So, settling into the right here, right now, and knowing together there is indeed just one thing going on. It is this thing called life. It's called by so many names. Today I'm going to call it God. But my favorite synonym for God is life, because it's the spark of energy that animates each and every one of us. Animates those kittens and cats, animates the trees and grass. It's everywhere present. And it's right where we are. We are a special, unique, individualized expression of the one. And what is ours to do is to grow and flourish and create a space of allowing for God to experience itself as it only can by means of each and every one of us. That's why we are unique. That's why we have different gifts. So let's move forward today, creating a space of allowing for our inner and outer eyes to open to a greater experience of this thing called life. To expand our awareness of where the edges of our boxes might be and experience life beyond that. Let's invite good into our life. Let's invite God into our life in a bigger way than ever before. And I know that there is just joy and passion and wholeness and peace in all things great that are a result of creating a space of allowing for the good to flow. So I'm just so happy and grateful that we had this time together. Thank you for making me feel so very welcome here. And I know that each and every one of us is leaving here changed because of this experience. It is in this knowing, in this trusting, and in this believing that I just turn it over. All is well. So in gratitude and celebration, let's claim and anchor this together by saying, and so it is.